Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, including Steven Universe, Gravity Falls, and Star Wars Rebels. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hello.
And Brit Falcon.
Hello.
Today, Brit, Delaney, and I will be discussing the explosive latest episode of Gravity Falls, Dipper and Mabel versus the Future. Huge spoilers for this episode and all of Gravity Falls. Crazy happenings, and we'll discuss it all here 4 hours at midnight, 4 hours after the episode aired. So excuse us if we're a little tired, but you can check out everything about this podcast at overlyanimated.com. We do regular Gravity Falls coverage, and we talk about it every, 2 weeks when it airs until maybe the show ends in 4 weeks. So we'll see. We'll discuss that. But yeah, let's get right into it. Top story at this hour: the apocalypse is happening. What is your reaction, Delaney?
I mean, it's great. I mean, it's not great, but it is great.
Are you encouraging the apocalypse happening in Gravity Falls?
No, but I am glad that Bill's back. I'm surprised my brother didn't send me 6 text messages about Bill, because he's so in love with Bill that I don't understand.
Are you in love with Bill? Do you like that he's back?
No, well, I mean, we've been waiting for him to come back for like 4 episodes now. What I'm excited about is that Blendon was back for like a hot second. That
fake Blendon, but yeah, there you go.
Blended, but,
was it actually?
well, I mean,
yeah.
No, it was actually blended.
But he was just possessed. I don't think he can like take the make his own form. Yeah.
No, I think that's the whole point of why he's doing all this is so that he can have his body or whatever. I thought it was great. The episode was keeping me on my toes, and it's kind of everything, and then not everything that we've been expecting. So and of course Mabel feels, ow, not okay. Don't hurt my baby. I also just kind of wanted to strangle Dipper the whole time, so we're back to me wanting to strangle Dipper.
You like the episode, though?
Oh yeah, no, it was a great episode. I think it might suffer from what we've talked about before, is the plot.
We'll get into that, yeah.
But it was definitely a funny episode, and it was great, and I'm happy with everything that's going on.
Britt, the apocalypse is here. What is your reaction?
God, Bill.
Are you excited for this and for Gravity Falls?
Of course, I'm always up for apocalypse.
Apocalypse always.
Plot lines. Like every single time you could end the end of the world into any plot, I'm like, yes, let's go. I'm up for that.
What about the episode overall?
I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was dabomb.com and super fun, and I was on board for everything. I even woke up from my nap to watch it.
This time. Actually woke up this time.
Yeah, there you go.
It was last time where I slept through the entire thing and woke up at 9:30 and was like, where am I?
What do you think about, was Gravity Falls always going to kind of get to this point, with the world
I
ending?
would say so,
Well, we've been talking about that, in previous podcasts.
Yeah, but even before that, right? Because that's only the past few episodes. Even since season 1, it's probably like, the world's probably going to end at some point, right?
It's true.
Something...
Well, that's the thing with all shows now, though. They're all going there.
Well, this show is not all shows. This is the crazy. It's happening. It almost seems I'm more and more convinced that this is the end of the show. I mean, there's a preview for next week, and it calls it like the final battle or something.
We're already talking about the end of summer and the birthday.
It's the end of the summer. I mean, Alex Hirsch has still never said season 3. Never. Even at New York Comic Con this weekend. I think we're probably like 4 episodes from the end of the show, and it's time to prepare yourselves. Because... And
it's very codename Kids Next Door-y with talking about them turning 13, which we've been talking about. I mean, I don't mean we, but necessarily, but the show there's been a lot of focus, mainly with Dipper, on him being 12, and they just mention age a lot. And I think this is very much
very thematic.
Of course, and would we even want it to? I mean, obviously we'd want more, but depending on where this ends, would we even want there to be more?
I mean, if there's a time bubble, we can just have an infinite summer.
It's true.
That's
come back next summer in theory, but I think there's a lot of the show. It's sort of it's August, it's the end of summer, but it's also end of childhood, sort of 13 is when you start growing up and you stop.
Yeah, definitely. You have the loss of innocence.
The bringing back of the face, I forgot the name of his face that Mabel puts on her chin. He's like, when's that from? 3rd grade?
Yeah.
Yeah,
the Mr. Upside Downington.
And also this episode itself is Like, I don't think we've ever seen the characters so cut up and bloody before, and like it got really violent really quick.
Interesting. I didn't
I mean,
notice
of
that.
course, oh my God, Dipper. Oh my God, like if I could have, I would have paused it. Like I was just so stunned by his face and like how at the last part when they crashed when he saved
Yeah.
Ford.
Can we talk about how that is not how adrenaline works?
Oh no, it's Brit's science critique for the week. Yeah, that seemed a little unrealistic.
A flight or fight response. Just because you fight doesn't mean adrenaline goes away. Also, it's in your bloodstream at like all points in time.
Yeah, you can't stop it. Like
otherwise,
you can't really
you would probably die.
That was a little sketch. Yeah,
Little.
a little. There you go.
Well, I mean, it's a little bit better than "Don't move, the dinosaurs can't see you."
Okay,
so.
that's not. Yeah, that's yeah. So this the weird what did Ford call it?
Weird Mageddon.
The Weird Mageddon is here. Yeah, I don't
Wow,
particularly
whatever.
I don't particularly care that much. I guess in terms of the apocalypse, you know, I'm interested to see where we're going with it. It seems like next week's from the episode preview is going to be just a giant battle. That's kind of interesting.
Be
Bill,
different.
yeah. In terms of quality, I've criticized the show before for being too plotty, and this is like the king of the plotty episodes to a certain extent. That being said, I think it does like this is half of this episode is just a drama, an episode of a TV drama, and I think it does it well though. I think this is like the best instance of the plot episode for this show. Like I was actually
Definitely.
engaged. Because the entire second half of this is kind of just from all the time with Bill and with Dipper and Ford, exploring the UFO and there's long
Can we talk
action
about how unobservant the people of Gravity Falls are? There's a giant saucer sitting in the ground, and like you don't have the teenagers like urban legend like going investigating like it's Cropsy. Like, come
No,
on.
they don't care.
that was a little sketchy, yeah. But the UFO had just been there the entire time, and there's like no government cover-ups or anything like that. Just Ford's the only
I
one
mean,
that
there
knows
could
about
be.
it. It's still there though, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think this was a good episode, and it does the drama thing better than the show has in the past. I think it also did a fairly good job of mixing character and drama and humor and drama to a certain extent. I think that things happen very fast at the end, and they could have maybe spaced out a little bit. Like the entire Dipper Mabel conflict comes up very fast in the episode. That being said, it's been building for a while, so
It was also built really, really well in the episode itself. Like the structure of the episode was really good, and just how they kept throwing it in there was good.
yeah. I mean, it definitely moves.
They're sort of
well
going
for that.
into like divergent directions.
I think that if there's a criticism to be had, it's that the ending. There's a lot of stuff that happens in the last like 2 to 5 minutes, and that could have been spaced out a little more episode structure wise. But
Well, yeah. Well, more my issue more is the stuff with Ford. I think could have been spaced out better than because, like we said, we've been waiting for this Mabel and Dipper conflict literally the entire season.
yeah, so yeah, I think it was fun. Another possible criticism is the Mabel's just kind of have this quick and not thought out reaction at the end is what causes the apocalypse. It's just this weird random thing that happens. Even though,
I didn't
even
really
if,
like that too much.
Even if it's based in the conflict of Dipper and Mabel, which has certainly been building for a while, it still is very fast to happen.
What also is kind of like, I mean, it's not. I mean, it wasn't like out of character, but I was kind of like Mabel usually gives things a little bit more thought, like something like that though. So that was a little. I don't know. I mean, obviously they're moving.
Even like
along.
had her like pause. Maybe I shouldn't give this to him, and then
Yeah.
he like snatches it away.
Well, it's like this is kind of like a completely
Oh,
different
wow.
Mabel from when we have A Tale of Two Stands, and well, I guess the episode before that,
Maybe I should have.
Well,
and where
yeah.
Mabel's like, it comes down to Mabel.
Well, let's talk about that. So the Mabel's reaction at the end and the Dipper Mabel conflict. So like, do we think Mabel's thing here is realistic, and do we kind of buy her? It seems like this is like supposed to be saying this is Mabel at her most emotionally vulnerable. And do we think that's something that makes sense given what we've seen? I mean, it's like such a quick divide here between Dipper and Mabel, and in the past they've had such a strong, relationship, right?
I do think it was rushed. Like, I think if it had been drawn out a bit more, it would be much more realistic, like, in the episode itself. Because, like, this definitely makes sense, and we've seen this again and again with Mabel and Dipper, and how Dipper, and a lot. I mean, we do have Dipper who sacrifices things for Mabel, and but a lot of the time it's Mabel who's shown to kind of be the more like, she's the more emotional, not necessarily more caring, but like she, wears her heart on her sleeve, and she's been the most bothered by like their potential separation and like that connection with Dipper. But at this like near this at the end, like I understand the depth between an endless loop of summer, like that'd be awesome, and like what that would mean to Mabel. But like in the terms of the episode, it was very shallow and just didn't like I understood it, but that's just from the context and like this has been building, but as an episode, it didn't really hit, I don't think, where it should have hit.
There's a lot of angles here. First of all, you have the Mabel being spontaneous and capable of making this type of decision very fast. I think that's well built within her character.
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't think it was completely out of character. I think like her reacting that way makes sense, but like the way they built up this scene where she reacts.
Yeah. There's okay. So other angles though. There's
just a mismatch.
There's the whole aspect that really appeals to me about this of Mabel not understanding that this would be something bad to happen because she's been constantly left in the dark in terms of the fantasy elements of the show. Dipper, I feel like this is something that's kind of been well built up. Dipper has not really cared about sharing what's going on with Mabel, especially recently, and it just totally makes sense that she would not know what was, even within the episode, she's just not in the loop in terms of what's happening with anything involving Bill.
Well, Ford like swore Dipper to secrecy and like has like purposely excluded Mabel, and like honestly, Mabel hasn't been involved like at all like since really.
She seems sort of okay with being like left alone.
Well, in this episode, she specifically designates the party planning backpack and the smarty planning for Dipper, right? So it seems like she's accepted this role. But it's more of like a flaw on Dipper for not Dipper, and it's obviously it's caused by Ford, who has no interest in sharing this with Mabel, but it's Dipper prioritizing Ford over Mabel.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Which I mean, he just immediately runs away to Ford, who also admitted to just making something up to get Dipper's attention.
Especially in the last few episodes here, we've
my beard is on fire. That's easier than shaving.
Yes,
that's how Nair works. But like, come on, actual fire.
These last few episodes, we've had this kind of building divide between Ford and Dipper versus Mabel and Stan. Do we think that this is? It's not like that came on fully to play here, right? But do we think this is something that's going to be built upon in the upcoming episodes?
Well, duh. Yeah, I mean, it has to with the parallels. Like, I mean, they're so obvious.
Well, other than the parallels, it's like there's the parallels between the twins, obviously, but there's also just the literal divide of Stan spending much more time with Mabel and then Ford spending much more time with Dipper, right?
Yes. I mean, this has to happen. Like, this is the natural progression, and then. It continues to come down to Stan is the one comforting Mabel in various, situations, and I mean, it just really recently that Dipper and Stan kind of were on a good footing.
What was both of your emotional reactions to the Dipper and Mabel rift at the end of this episode? Because I feel like this episode's pretty dependent on a reaction to that.
Well, it's definitely completely dependent on it.
Were you really upset, Brit?
I was very sad.
Okay. Delaney, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, we saw it coming. Like, I mean, I knew this was going to happen, and I was upset because Mabel, and I think that is the big thing. It's dependent on the audience feels towards Mabel, and of course, she is a very sympathetic character. So I think in that way it does hit well. Granted, there's some people who might not be like, Mabel. Like, I'm that way with Dipper. I mean, I love Dipper, but I'm kind of like, okay, Dipper.
I have both reaction. One, at the end of the day, she really doesn't have the right to tell her brother, you can't give up. You have to give up basically what is your dream, or a dream of yours, to just basically be my wingman. But like at the same time, he needs to be emotionally supportive and like help his sister out. He can't just be cold-hearted about it.
Yeah, I mean,
Dipper's been abandoning Mabel consistently.
Yeah. It's quite. He should be nicer about the way in which he's doing it, and he's not.
Kind of
He's just very
regardless of
problematic.
who's right or who you more emotionally attached to. I feel like that's not the dependency in the in
I don't
terms
feel
of the
like that
episode.
matters either. Like
It's just you caring about their sibling relationship, right? And that kind of being strained at the
Yeah.
end. That's kind of what I was talking about.
Okay, never mind.
I mean, it's easy to try to place blame on one of the two. This episode, I don't think I don't think the episode really encourages that too much, though.
No, I don't.
Well, I mean,
don't think so either.
well, part of it though is, I don't know. I really do think it's very dependent on. I mean, Mabel is my favorite character, but I do think it is dependent on, because none of the conflict is from Dipper. It's all from Mabel. Like, that's the thing. Like, because Dipper's not even like Dipper had that very brief. I mean, Dipper clearly struggled with the decision, but like, he made the decision, and he and of course then he planned on having some elaborate. He was preparing to tell Mabel, but then of course she heard it all, and so that completely threw him off. So I do think it's the way the episode is structured and the way we see the events, especially with the focus on the walkie-talkies. You are meant to get it from Mabel's side, and like it's dependent really on Mabel.
So, not that I didn't super want to talk about this, but now that we bring it up, do we think that this is kind of like an emotion? Do we think that this is like a super male centric perspective on the events of going on here, right? So it's like Dipper, has things happening, makes the decision, and then Mabel's just kind of this loose cannon reacting to it, and it's not someone you kind of understand the logic of. I mean, we're meant to sympathize with her, right? I don't know. I also
I don't.
That's it. That's why I'm not. No, that's why I'm not satisfied with it, because we get this plot of I mean, granted it is Mabel and it's her character, but it's also very Mabel's just going to throw a birthday party while Dipper's out doing all the cool guy stuff with the aliens, and
I mean, it's Dipper's point of view, right?
You see Mabel like losing like everything, so like her reaction seems very natural.
I agree with
no,
that.
It is very natural, but the thing is, it's still very much from a pointed, female perspective.
I don't know. Okay, we don't. Yeah, it's not an easy question to answer with this show. I mean, I think you're anticipating people kind of blaming Mabel for the events of the end, Delaney. But like,
no, that's not at all what I'm talking about. But you can take that way, I guess. Whatever.
Like, I don't know.
That's not what I was talking about.
You're right that I don't know. It's just I feel like the emotions at the end come from the rift in the sibling relationship, right? So I think that's what the episode's trying to get on. And it is interesting that Mabel's the one that's kind of literally directly at fault, but I feel like the episode does do a good job in not in us understanding what's happening, right? And I never like kind of blamed Mabel for the end of that. That's not.
Well,
really
I didn't blame Mabel. That's not what I was saying. Like,
I'm not saying you said that either. So yeah, there's that aspect. I didn't super emotionally react to it. So I don't know. It happened very fast. I could see both sides of that being well executed or not. We talked about the end of the summer and how that relates to. It's interesting to see the direction of where the show is going in terms of the Dipper and Mabel rift and how that relates to the the weird apocalypse or whatever, weird Mageddon. I'm sorry. And yeah, so
Mageddon.
We could spend a lot of time
Weird
speculating.
Mageddon. I don't like that.
Why don't you like?
Stupid.
The other big kind of plot revelation in this episode is the just this UFO under Gravity Falls.
Very clearly.
That's kind of a big plot thing for this show. It's like in the context of us having everything revealed recently, it doesn't seem that big, but like in season 1, that would have been the biggest thing that happened, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, Ford's kind of like he discovered this UFO is like did it cause the anomalies of Gravity Falls, or was it drawn by this anomaly force that was kind of hinted at, but or not hinted at, it was discussed very briefly in the Stan backstory episode. And yeah, what do we think of this concept and this element in the episode?
I think it would have been more. I mean, in this episode, it worked great, of course. I think it would maybe be more. I mean, because this lends to the mythology of the show, which we're all about because it's Gravity Falls. That's the point of the show. But I think it would have. Like, I would have preferred to have known this earlier. It would have been a bigger deal, and I'm just kind of like, oh, there's a spaceship. Okay, that's cool. What
do you think, Brett?
Lovely. There's a spaceship. You're not even phased. You're like, well, there's a spaceship. Of course there is.
Yeah.
It's also very convenient.
Yeah, I really
Very
I really
convenient.
like this in terms of tying together a lot of the mythology of Gravity Falls. I think this kind of makes a lot of sense in relating to the weird, anomalies that have been happening. I agree with Delaney. I don't like that this is placed, in theory, 4 episodes before the show ends, if that's what's happening here, structure wise, because I feel like that this is just super insignificant in the context of this episode and the episodes around it. But if this was revealed a little bit earlier, it could have been really nicely tied into the Monster of the Week type thing that we had. It's just another kind of thing that's been thrown at us by this barrage of mythology expansion that the show has done.
Also, it's a little awkward.
It's a little. Why is it a little awkward?
Because like obviously we're dealing with multiple dimensions. Like this has been kind of beaten to our heads because of Ford and everything that's been going on. But I mean, there's dimensions, and we have Bill Cipher, but there's still some difference between that and aliens. So
They're coming at a lot of different directions of fantasy here. There's the multiple dimensions. There's aliens now. There's magic. Like what
which
is
like I'm fine with, but
that's a lot of. This is
yeah, no,
the most angles
it's
I've seen on it.
everything.
Yeah.
And then to have this episode and like to have just this is on. I think this is the first actual concrete. Oh, of course, Ford says this. He's like, "Oh, I wish I could be where you are now. Finally, extraterrestrial life. Confirmed, or whatever it was he said." But I mean, it's
Still
just to
having
be this
like
late in the game.
being exciting instead of being, yeah, there's extraterrestrial life. That's nice.
What
Well,
do
it's late in the game for us to be having aliens.
What do we think of Ford's dynamic within the context of the show? We've been sitting on Ford for 5 to 10 episodes now, and here he comes into play with regards to the events of what's going on again. Do we like how Ford's dynamic with the family is? Do we like him as a character?
He's a jerk.
Well, not personally like. Do you like how he functions within the show,
Well, that's the thing.
We don't need to know
he
if you'd invite him
disappears.
to the party.
Well, he just appears. He's very convenient. He's a convenient character. He's like, and we talked about this before. He just drives the plot.
Yeah. Do you think he's anything more than a plot device, Britt?
Barely.
Yeah. Well, there's aspects of him. There's the relations with Stan and the parallels to Dipper and Mabel. He develops a relationship with Dipper. Do we think that's kind of enough to justify his presence, though? I guess is the question.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we need him.
He's a
like
character.
doing the thing.
We need him to do what he's currently doing.
Sure,
but I don't see if he could do anything else.
Yeah.
It's the argument I would make is that
He's this is going to go terribly because I've whatever. He's kind of like Yoda in Star Wars in the second film. He's really not a character and he doesn't do a whole lot, but he's there, he drives the plot, and he's a mentor relationship with the main character.
That's an interesting comparison.
Does that make sense?
No, yeah,
He's
I think that's very
No, it
interesting.
makes sense.
Okay.
My problem with Ford is that, regardless of whether or not you can structure the plot in a way in which the plot happens with or without the presence of the character Ford, it's obviously he's been crucial in driving everything that's happened, but you could construct the show's plot in a way in which it would happen without him, I think.
Yeah. He doesn't have to be
That's what basically my point. Like, I'm not sure what he adds to the dynamic of the characters beyond a parallel to Dipper and Mabel's sibling relationship.
And the twist.
Like whatever with the twist, ignoring plot things, character wise, he adds that kind of interesting parallel, and he probably adds things to Stan's character. Although we haven't seen them,
everything to Stan.
but we haven't really seen Stan do anything. Right? That's kind of the
in the last couple of episodes. Like Stan's character makes sense overall in context of in the context of Ford being there, like who he is as a person, how he ended up where he ended up.
It's like it's like on one hand he
like his other half, who's his twin.
Yeah, on one hand he completely shapes Stan's character, but Stan's character existed for many episodes before we knew about Ford. Like I don't think it's that. He was a character. Now he's a different character, kind of.
Ford just
he's more
redeems
sympathetic.
Stan's character. Yeah, like that's what he redeems Stan as a character.
Sure. Yeah. I wonder what the show could have been without completely changing what it is. I think Ford is the face of that. I know maybe people are probably frustrated with me kind of making this point, but I do think the show kind of has dropped in. It's interesting because I don't think it's quality. I don't think it dropped in critical quality. Maybe it's dropped in narrative quality since.
I completely disagree. Like, I think the last couple of episodes have been really, really great. Like, I really, really like this one.
Yeah, no, I thought this one was good. I think this is the best.
This comes down to every time we discuss anything about any show ever, is that a lot of times if it's when things get too plotty, you're not. So we had a narrative shift. I don't think there's been narrative quality change, but we've had a shift.
No, that's very valid.
Because you like shows where nothing happens.
The show had things happening before.
Dylan wanted slice of life Gravity Falls.
Well, that's kind of what the show was, and then it's not anymore, right? Yeah. This is like this. It's different than talking about other shows because no other show I can think of had this like crazy change halfway through its second season.
No, I agree. There was a definite.
It's like the people who don't like Harry Potter post book 5 because there was a plot shift.
That's interesting. That's actually an interesting comparison.
I would say book 4, but I agree with you.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying the show's not good anymore. I think this episode was very good. I do think that it was maybe could have been done in a way in which it preserved more of its earlier elements. Like, I think it's interesting that they changed things so much is my general opinion. And I don't think it's not set in stone how this, post Ford reveal is going to go down in the annals of Gravity Falls critical quality. We'll see. We still have, the end. We still have to end the show, and then we'll see. We'll look back on how it happens. This was a good step in the direction of the post Ford era, even though I don't think Ford was a super strong element of this episode specifically. The episode itself was strong, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think I wasn't as bothered, not bothered, but the fact that there was more, because usually we've had the sacrifice, we'll have Ford and no Stan, or we'll have Stan and no Ford, but this is fun. We finally have an episode since a while where we have both of them, so it balances it out, because we haven't been getting a lot of Stan as a character, and we haven't been, Ford, is just there.
We didn't get a ton of Stan here. We got a little bit.
Yeah, but it was more than
It was more than which is not that much, but it was more than usual. Yeah.
And he talked to Mabel, and I love when Stan and Mabel hang out.
Same.
Yeah, Stan and Mabel did a good dynamic.
I'm happy whenever Stan is on screen.
Last aspect of this episode to discuss is that it was genuinely funny, and let's go over some of the lines. Yeah. So
my god! Yes.
We talked about Mr. Upside Downington. We learned. Okay, now I'm going to go through the outline and rattle off this portion of the podcast. Now we know that the twins' birthday is August 31st. We actually get an actual date. I was on the flyer at the end of the thing. It was I was trying to figure it out because it was the last day. It seemed like it was the last day in August on the calendar, and then we finally get an actual date.
I wasn't even paying attention because I was just whatever.
I was paying attention to that. Mabel can now read post-preteen magazines.
That was really funny.
It's 1 week until high school where they teach us stuff about, what? Trigonometry? Oh, yeah, baby.
That was really great.
That was really weird, that joke.
That was really funny. I liked that.
It's pinatas with tinier pinatas inside. Mabel's thinking of people to invite. Where do we stand with the gnomes? I like that. Yeah, let's bring back the gnomes a lot.
Let's definitely bring back the gnomes. They were my fave.
They're the first creature.
It's just really funny that their 13th birthday, usually there's a whole sweet thing, so this 13th birthday thing is awesome.
Dude, it's a big deal, yeah. But Grunkle Stan, we need some roof to raise.
That was a good line too.
We had Weird Mageddon. We talked about party missions.
I'm still finding dismembered zombie body parts in the couch cushions. I enjoyed that line.
Yeah, that's good. Party mission, Smarty mission. We talked about that one. Robbie says my hormones are like a sweaty cage. We had a Robbie line.
Great,
Robbie. We learned that Wendy wants to be 12 again. That's interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you want to be 12 again? That sounds awful.
Different. Yeah, I could see a lot of different experiences here.
It's the way they talk about school. I'm middle school's the worst.
Being 12.
Yeah, I mean, okay, we don't need to discuss whether middle school or high school is the worst. It's an interesting discussion.
Definitely middle school, but we can carry on.
Grenda says that Mabel's just in time for their 1 o'clock boy talk, which is interesting. It's was she invited? Why is she? Was she expected to be there?
Exactly.
Marius is flying Grenda out to Austria to hang out at his castle.
Or whatever.
Yeah. And then Candy is going to music camp. You ship it? Okay.
Music camp. I ship it, yeah.
My bad. I think the funniest gag of the episode was Dipper. Ford's like, flip any switch, and then Dipper hits the button, and then cut to the farmer, and it goes goes up and down. And he's
That's
like,
pretty
whatever
good.
the count.
Did you eat my
Claire.
farm?
Do you
Oh
eat
my
my
God,
farm?
I
Yeah.
really laughed so hard.
Yeah,
at
that was definitely the biggest laugh for me. It seems like vintage Gravity Falls, that scene for a second.
No one's phased.
Yes, though lost in this kind of abstract talk we've had is the Dipper's just the specifics. Dipper wants to stay to apprentice with Ford. Ford wants that. Dipper's previous plans were starting his own ghost hunting show. That's interesting.
That was really funny.
I feel like that's beneath Dipper. that was my reaction to that.
No, that was my thought. I was like,
It's like Dipper, you can do better than that. Come on.
Well, I expected he wanted to go to like whatever school that Ford went to or wanted to go to.
Yeah.
Cambridge to get a degree in theoretical physics and
You can
marry a princess and.
Well, what did he want his degree in, Wendy? Yeah, what did he want his degree in? It was like media studies and stuff like that.
Photography.
Photography, yeah.
Fine art and quantum physics.
I actually kind of like that they had Dipper wanting to do kind of an artsy thing instead of a super hard sciencey thing.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. Like it was surprising, but I liked it.
That was very much a artists make the show type line.
Yeah.
What else do we have here? And Mabel has a magnetic personality. I once saw her become pen pals with the pizza delivery man in the 60 seconds while he was at the door.
I liked that.
Yeah. Ford's like, Mabel will be fine. We had.
So it's interesting given like the very little time he spent with
I feel like you're speaking for her a lot, Ford. I mean, I think that makes sense with this character. Actually, him not, Ford maybe doesn't understand people all that well. He's not been on Earth for a while, and even before that,
in the dimension.
Even before that, he was.
What was it? Do you give children guns in this dimension? Do you give children weapons in this dimension?
Yeah.
That's all right. Yeah. Right. Okay. Okay, Tenzin.
Yeah, Tenzin.
Just because you grow up doesn't mean you have to grow up. You always have Dipper. You're the only person I can count on.
That was the most foreshadowy line.
And now you're leaving
brutal.
me too.
That was so hard on the nose. It was in the sinuses.
Then we have Blendon at the end. Let me confirm this.
Loved it.
Blendon, voiced by Justin Roiland, right?
He's Morty.
He's definitely Morty.
Literally, I could barely pay attention to what he was saying because I was like, Morty is just speaking.
It sounds like Morty so much. Yeah, I
didn't notice it the first time.
I don't know if I noticed it. I mean, I think I remembered it, but I definitely since talking about this.
We talked about it, but but now since we just finished Rick and Morty,
podcasting for 10 weeks. Yeah, it's definitely Blendon is obviously the best character. He's voiced by Justin Roiland, and he's the best also.
I was so excited when it was Blendon.
He says time bubble. Summer and Gravity Falls can last as long as you want to. And then it's Bill.
Second he opened his mouth, I knew it was Bill, and I was like, God damn it!
It was. I think it was pretty obviously Bill the whole time, but yeah. But
I was still mad. Like I had like a small. I just raged.
I did hope for a second. I hoped for a second it was actually Blendon, but I guess it is him, but I don't know.
Just hoping against him.
Bill says the event 1 billion years prophesized.
I was waiting for this like the whole episode.
Has come to pass. The day has come. The world is finally mine. Oh yeah, there you go. Too late. It's the end of the world.
What's he gonna do?
Monologue.
Then there's this giant.
Like, what is his motive? What does he want to do with the world?
Bill is just a force of chaos. I think that's all that we should see.
Bill just wants to see the world burn.
He's not like a character we should have motives for other than just a primordial source of chaos. I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
He puts a lot of work into making chaos, though.
He does. He does put a lot of work.
Just a lot of work. I feel like if you're going to be like a force of chaos, you're going to be at least somewhat lazy. Like a god who just doesn't care and wants everything to burn. Like, wouldn't you be lazy? I'd be lazy.
No, I think that's what makes Bill so interesting. Like, he's like just this hyperactive triangle who's just constantly doing crap. It's great.
We'll see what happens.
You have other things to do.
The world is ending.
That would be my question.
There's 2 weeks until we see what happens. Quick predictions on what will happen next episode.
Just utter chaos.
Okay,
like,
other than
nothing good will happen.
Some things good are gonna happen.
No.
Yes.
Nothing.
Yes. Some things good are gonna happen.
No, they'll be like bittersweet, almost good, but then nothing actually good will happen until the show ends.
We don't. Well, what's crazy about this is we continue to not know how many episodes we have left with this show. Like,
Next week could be the last episode. We don't know.
How does no one ask Alex Hirsch at New York Comic Con if there's going to be a season 3? I'm pretty sure no one asked him. So I don't. By the way, it was confirmed. I saw it in an article today. We might have seen this before, but Alex Hirsch, after he says that after he saw that someone had guessed the twin brother first stand and thing that he had planned, he made a fake screenshot of Old Man Grakit as the author and posted it to 4chan, and then made a tweet saying that he was saying like crap, and then deleted it 10 seconds later to try to throw people off the set. That's what he says there.
That's great. That's
the best. That's the best creator thing. Yeah, trolling CO. I am in favor of this. There you go. Last thoughts on this episode. What do we give it on let's do AV Club's grading scale, A to F or whatever. What do you think? Do you think A, Delaney? What do you think, Britt?
A++.
No A pluses on the scale, but that's okay. I'll give it a.
I don't really care what AV Club does. A++.
I'll give it an A minus. Maybe.
I'd probably give it a 9.4 on our usual scale.
I'm upper 8s. Yeah, on our usual scale, which we haven't really used on this podcast, so it's not really the usual scale. On the previous podcast, there you go. Last thoughts. Dipper and Mabel versus the future. Well, stuff's gonna happen.
Good title, emotions.
Try not to. High school's fine. Just try not to graduate and go to college, and try not to fail out of college.
Aw, yeah.
Life advice
from Brit. I agree. I think that's solid advice, dude.
It's very
solid advice. Okay, I'm Dylan Hysen. That's with the solid advices, Brit Falcon and Delaney Stovall. Also, I guess in general has good advice. You can find all of our links and stuff. You like that
I am more worldly than you, Delaney. This is not up for discussion, okay?
I might give good advice on other things.
You can find all of our
like
links.
What?
All of our links. All of our links and stuff at overlyanimated.com.
How to flee campus.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I can flee campus.
Did you, though?
I went to college.
Okay.
I did.
You can support us at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Big thanks to our current patrons. Shayna, Mitch, Cordell, Beatrice, Nate, Andy, and Jamie, a.k.a. Hannah, Fever, Mitch, Cordell University, Beatrix, James, Buzz Lightyear, and Mailman. We'll be back in 2 weeks for the next Gravity Falls. Our next podcasts are on Wednesday, I think. Hopefully Star Wars Rebels is coming back, and plus Moonbeam City, hopefully Wednesday night or Thursday. Plus Thursday is Steven Universe. Plus check out our YouTube channel. The link is on overlyanimated.com, where I did quick video reviews when I marathoned season 1 of Star Wars Rebels, and those are all posted, so you can check those out. Yeah, that's it. Yay. Gravity Falls, yay. Interesting.
This is the shortest wait too, isn't it?
We only have 2 weeks. That's good. Good.
What was it last time?
3 weeks.
This one was, it was like 3 weeks from last episode. But we actually kind of have a consistent airing schedule, even though it's still the worst, because it's 2 to 3 weeks every time. But whatever. Thanks for listening, guys.
As long as it airs.
Yeah, that's true. We just got to see the end of the show.
At least it's not online.
Watch there be a season 3, and I'm just completely wrong on this. It certainly seems like there's not a season 3 right now. It certainly seems that way.
I would like there to be a season 3.
I mean, yeah, I don't want the show. I don't want the show.
Is
the show is just the show's been a constant in the animation world since 2012. Yeah, so there's gonna be a big hole when it leaves. But for now, it's still here. And thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.